The Harrisburg City Islanders' Morgan Langley had another strong season, with 6 goals and 6 assists to lead his team in both categories in the regular season. We spoke with him this week about the club's upset of Orlando City in the quarterfinals of the 2014 USL PRO Playoffs, the role Jose Barril and Yann Ekra have had in the club's success, and going up against a pair of former teammates this weekend as the City Islanders travel to face the Richmond Kickers at City Stadium. Well, Morgan, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. First of all, congratulations to you and the team on a great quarterfinal victory against Orlando City. I know, reading some of the stuff that was in the papers before the game, that you guys had a little bit of confidence that if you could weather the early pressure, that you might have a chance of getting a result. Did the game play out the way that you expected it to?
Yeah, absolutely. Going into the game, we were confident. Obviously, we had 2 other meetings with them earlier in the season, and we came out of those games feeling confident, although we had a win and a loss. The team, we know what we're capable of, and with the surface that they were playing on, pristine pitch, we felt very confident that we would be able to execute our game plan to how we wanted to.
What was the plan? I mean, it definitely seemed as though you wanted to try and take the game to them, and I thought, in particular, Jose Barril and Yann Ekra were particularly strong in kind of facilitating that, kind of holding the center of the park together as you guys tried to break up their attacks and then counter quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jose and Yann have been doing an incredible job all season in the middle of the park for us. And I think it was just highlighted in this game. And that's the plan was for them to control the midfield basically and be able to release our attacking players. Obviously, our attacking options, the 3 options we had starting the game up top, are fantastic. So if we're able to incorporate those attacking options, Jimmy, Robbie Dershang, and then Antoine, if we're able to incorporate them in the attack and go at the Orlando defenders, and we felt like we'd be able to take this game possibly. And, it was just executed perfectly. Yann, and like you said, Yann and Jose were just brilliant in there. They were cleaning up everything that was coming through the middle and then keeping the ball and distributing it once they got it. So that's what we were looking to do.
There have obviously been some really standout performances this season from the team. You've had some good goalkeeping from Nick Noble. You've had some solid defensive work by Richie Marquez on loan from the Union. But I think the role that Jose and Yann have played has maybe gone slightly overlooked by a lot of people. What have they meant to the team, not just in last Saturday's game, but during this run of form that got you guys into the playoffs?
I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there with, Jose and Yann, because you look early in the season, we were struggling a little bit. They weren't playing in that position. I think as we started to move the puzzle pieces around, you end up putting those 2 as our holding midfielders, and it just worked out brilliantly. I mean, both of them, one from Lyon and one from Real Madrid. I mean, they both have the pedigree. So, they're both just class players, and it shows when they're on the field. And it keeps, when you have a midfield like that, the rest of the team is going to be confident heading into games.
The other thing that's been noticeable, I think, about your side this year is you've scored a lot of goals. I think you had 45 goals in the regular season, but no one had, I think, more than 6 or 7 individually. There were so many goals coming from so many different players that is that something that the team prides itself on, that anyone can contribute offensively?
I mean, I think the idea that the goals are spread out is that goes into the team spirit. I mean, with this team, there's incredible, it's not about individuals. It's all about what the team can do and how the team can play together. And I think the goals just go ahead to prove that. I mean, we had a lot of goals last year. A lot of them came from Lucky, Nkasana, and then Saini Torre, but they're gone. So we knew that, hey, we've got to score another 30, 35 goals that we don't have from last year. And I think, everybody understood that and stepped into their role to be able to contribute to the goal scoring. And it's been fun. I mean, when you have a team spirit like that and everyone's sharing the accolades and the goals, I mean, it makes it a much more enjoyable season, quite honestly.
The thing that strikes me about the way you guys attack is the speed that you have. You mentioned the three guys that started this past weekend with Robbie, Antoine, and Jimmy, all three very quick guys. But then you've got yourself, excellent speed. When he comes down on loan, Pedro Ribeiro, as quick as he is big. I mean, he's for his size, he's definitely got great speed too. Is that what makes you guys so dangerous going forward?
Absolutely. I mean, it goes back to the saying. I mean, you can't teach speed. And, you know, with that, you can't really defend speed if you don't have it. So we're able to just go at players very well. With our speed, when you have three attacking options, you know, we typically have three of us in there that are very fast. It makes it very tough to contain all three players at a time. And that just makes us much more dangerous. And not only the speed, but every player, you know, that we're having in there, we're all very dynamic as well. We all like to move and interchange our positions and go at players. So it really makes it difficult for opposing defenses to contain us, honestly.
Now, I looked this up. The last time you guys played Orlando in the postseason was 2011, that championship game that I don't think anyone who saw will ever forget. You're the only player from the 18, I believe, that was in that Harrisburg lineup that was playing in Saturday's game. For you personally, was there a little bit of satisfaction that maybe a little bit of revenge for that final, and especially considering it's now Orlando's last game in USL Pro?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, I'll never forget the feeling when I looked up at the scoreboard and thought that, hey, we might have wrapped up the USL Championship in 2011. Orlando sneaks in, gets a penalty late, and ties it up, and we lose in penalty kicks after that. And so, you know, when you have that feeling like it's right there and it slipped out of your hands, I mean, to come back as an 8th seed and beat them at their place, the number 1 seed, you know, it is a little bit of a, I wouldn't say revenge is the word, but it's definitely satisfying to be able to finally close that chapter of our battles with Orlando. And, you know, I guess in a way it closes out their USL Pro tenure, but we've had some battles over the years with them, and it was fun to end up on top finally.
Now, going back to 2011 again quickly, one of the guys that the City Islanders had on loan that year, and this is a very strange connection to Saturday's games, was Connor Shinovsky, who came on loan from DC United briefly during that season. He's a guy that now you guys are going to probably have to go up against on Saturday. What's the challenge that going up against a defender like him and a defender like William Yombi, who's been so good throughout the years for the Kickers, what does that pose to you guys going on the road to City Stadium?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're talking about Connor Shinovsky and Yombi. You've got two very big center backs there. They're big, athletic, and that goes back to our ability to play. You know, we got to keep the ball out of the air because we have a vertical challenge there compared to those two guys. And that's just, you know, you'll see that as soon as we step on the field. But, you know, I think it's to remain confident in our ability as a team. I mean, we're going, you know, City Stadium is beautiful down there for the Kickers. Beautiful pitch, beautiful grass, and so when you have a field like that, we're able to put the ball on the ground, and hopefully, you know, we can move around them rather than try to move with the ball in the air and get past them, you know, with physical challenges and physical battles in the air. So it makes it tough, but at the same time, you know, I think our team is very good in these situations, and I think we're still very confident going into this game.
There's another former City Islander on the roster as well that the Kickers added during mid-season, Stephen Basso. You're a guy that's probably gone up against him many, many times in practice. Is it going to be fun? Is it going to be fun to get the chance to do that in live action if that matchup happens?
Oh, that absolutely will be. You know, I don't know how many hundreds of times we've gone up against him in practice. He's being the left back and me being the right winger. We were paired against each other over and over in training, so it'll be you know, a lot of fun. You know, we've obviously chatted a little bit, knowing that there was a prospect of us playing each other. But you know, I've got some tricks up my sleeve. I'm a different player than last year, so I'm ready to show him a little bit of some of the new things I've learned, and I'm sure he's come at me with some new things. So it's going to be fun, and definitely we'll have a good time out there. That's what it's all about.
The Kickers won all 3 times that you guys played in the regular season. What adjustments do you have to make, and what did you take away from those games that are the things you maybe have to avoid falling into? What traps do you have to avoid falling into to get a result on Saturday and advance to the championship game?
I think it's very similar to what we said before the Orlando game. When we have not conceded goals early, we've been in every game and actually looked as though we're the better team in most games when we haven't conceded early. So I think we just need to withstand the pressure like we did in Orlando for the first 10, 15 minutes. And then, just build off of everything that we've been doing well in this stretch to make it into the playoffs and in the second half of the season in general. We just need to continue to build on that confidence. And, with this team, we have an incredible amount of talent. Going back to 2011, we did make it to the finals then, but this team is more talented. So I think for us as a team, if everybody remains confident and we have that team mentality that we had in Orlando, then we shouldn't have to look back at our losses against Richmond, because I think everybody's confident and knows that if everyone plays to their game, we should have no problem. Just like Richmond is thinking the same thing.
Well, Morgan, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really appreciate it, and best of luck in the semi-finals on Saturday.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Morgan Langley and the Harrisburg City Islanders faced the Richmond Kickers at City Stadium in the semi-finals of the 2014 USL Pro Playoffs this Saturday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Join us for all the action on YouTube, and follow USL Pro on social media via @USL Pro on Twitter, and also through Facebook, Google+, and Instagram.